welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today, Stu. I'm so excited to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so I'm so excited. So many of my audience members have already taken the plunge and have already joined TME, so I'm really excited. This is my
Awesome.
second year going through the course with a group, with my affiliate group. But one question that I keep getting over and over again, or one objection, is that TME and the membership experience just feels beyond their reach. Like they feel like they need to spend more time growing their audience, or they're not ready yet. So can you kind of speak to those people who are either looking to launch something completely new or who don't quite have their membership idea nailed down yet? They're in those very beginning stages. Is TME for them?
Well, I mean, truth of the matter is that's exactly what the program is designed to do, is to, one, help you get the clarity, and two, help you build the momentum to be able to successfully launch it. You know, it's not at all a situation where you have to know exactly, what the membership is going to be. You have to have content lined up. You have to have a big audience. That's what the program is designed to help you do, is, be able to get clear on those things and to understand who you're going to be serving, how specifically you're going to be helping, and how to position it so that people get it and understand it and they want it right away. And then how do you build momentum so that you are growing the membership as you're growing your audience? And, obviously, I've been sharing all kinds of stories throughout the past week of people who didn't have audiences of tens of thousands and thousands, had teeny tiny audiences of just a couple hundred people. And what was interesting for me yesterday was we did a live cast and we were chatting with a number of alumni. And there was a common theme amongst several of them who said they had participated in the workshop in a prior year and did not register. And then I think of Bonnie's example. She said she did it for 2 years before she finally joined. And she said, I just think about like what has happened since, with her membership. And she said, what gets me thinking is, what if I had done that 2 years earlier? And Marisa said the exact same thing. She said she found the PDF of the blueprint from a year prior. And she's just thinking like, what if I had just done this a year? Because at the end of the day, what we teach works, and it helps people go from, no audience, no idea of what they're going to do in terms of their membership, to gaining that clarity and to gaining that focus and building momentum. And the thing that I always want to say to everybody is, we always hold space for I'll do it when my audience is big enough. I'll do it when, I'm clear about my idea. I'll do it when I've built up so much amount of content. But oh my goodness, hold space for what can happen in such a short period of time. Hold space for what happens when you get out of your own way and you begin building momentum. And, we think oftentimes we've got to have this perfect plan in place before we take that next right step. But the truth of the matter is the clarity around the plan comes in taking that next right step. It doesn't come from sitting and waiting and planning and sitting and waiting and planning. It comes from getting a small group of people that you can begin serving and helping inside of a membership. I think of Jackie Grunberg. She had her idea for a membership, did not have a big audience. She had 440 people in her audience. She put it out there and 18 founding members. And now she's serving a whole lot of homeschooling parents, specifically with science lesson plans. Or I think of Rosie. She had 40 people on her email list, 70 on Instagram, and 140 on Facebook. That is not by any means considered a gigantic audience. And she welcomed 18 founding members off to the races with her membership. Or I think of last year, oh gosh, I forgot his name. It's coming to me. There's so many stories and names that it'll come to me.
You'll know it if you tell this story.
But he basically, his whole goal was to make back his investment as quickly as possible. And he had a tiny audience of 101 people. Greg Santos, I knew it would come. Greg. So he had a tiny audience of 101 people. He made back his investment in 48 hours from doing his founding member launch. So my encouragement to everybody is I want to encourage you to hold that place of possibility for yourself. Don't limit yourself. Don't hold yourself back. Think about what can happen in such a short period of time when you get out of your own way and you just let that future possibility begin to take shape. And it takes shape the moment that you decide that you're going to go for it. Because if you continue to hold back and you continue to wait and wait and wait, there is no perfect time. And I'll share one final story about this, Michelle. I was learning recently to surf with my kids, and we each had our own instructor. The only difference was that my kids were actually on the same surfboard as their instructors. So their instructors would paddle out, their instructors would get ready for the wave. And then when they started catching the wave, they'd say, okay, jump up. And my kids would jump up on the surfboards and they were cruising. So anyway, we're all out in the ocean and we're waiting. And my son's instructor, his name was Namaka. And, I'm waiting for quote, the perfect wave. My daughter and her instructor are waiting for the perfect wave. Namaka and Sam, it didn't matter what wave was coming. They were up and they were cruising. And we kept saying they've been surfing on 3-4 times as many waves as we had, because we were waiting. We were bobbing and waiting for that perfect wave. But in life, there's so many people like Namaka who are able to surf on any wave that comes their way, because they're not waiting. They're making and taking advantage of everything, every little bit of momentum that comes their way. And that's what I want to encourage everybody is, do not underestimate what you're capable of and what can happen in such a short period of time. Less than just over a year ago, Julie Soul had no business and no intention of starting a business. She had only ever sold a candy bar as part of a school fundraiser before. And fast forward 1 year, she did her founding member launch. She did another relaunch in August and another one in January. So a full year that from January to January. And she now has more than 1,400 monthly paying members. And we may think she had some big, gigantic audience. No, she didn't. She started just sharing her homeschooling art lessons and started a free Facebook group. It grew to eventually a couple thousand people in about a span of about 6 months. And then that's when she rolled into her founding member launch. And so I'm just sharing this because so much can happen in such a short period of time when we believe in ourselves and believe in what's possible. But more often, the thing that holds us back is not that we don't think it'll work. It's not that we don't see that, it's possible, but that we just don't believe in ourselves to make it happen. And too many dreams don't happen, not because they fail, but because of doubt and fear and a lack of belief in oneself to actually take that next right step. And my encouragement to everybody is have the courage to believe in yourself and believe in what you are capable of and live into that potential. And we'll certainly show you how and guide you along the way.
Yeah, and audience growth is such a big part of TME, which I didn't realize at the beginning. So I always try to kind of shout that from the rooftops, all of this is covered, and it's such a supportive program that you really get walked through step by step by step. So I have one more question that I've also been getting a lot, and that is from the people who did have the courage and they took that step and they went for it and they put out a founding member launch, but maybe they didn't get those results that were talked about on the live cast, or maybe they heard crickets. Where do they go from there? Does that mean that they're not going to be able to create a profitable membership site? Does that mean they can't join TME or shouldn't? What would you say to those people?
Well, I would say the good news is that you didn't go through the time, energy, and effort to create a members area, create a whole bunch of content, and put everything out there before finding out that what you have is misaligned with what the market wants. So that's the good news, because as the great Nelson Mandela would say, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And in this situation, what we've learned is that our messaging is not in alignment with what the market wants. And it's way better to find that out before you go and create a whole bunch of stuff than go and create it and then find it out. So you're at in an advantageous position right now, first and foremost. Second, I would say now it's about finding out where is that misalignment. And in the very first module, as soon as you register actually for the membership experience, you'll have access to, it's actually module 0. It's the foundation module. And one of the things that we talk about is like, really getting clear on that messaging to align what you're saying and how you're saying it to what the market wants. Because when those things are aligned, that's when the response and the conversions go up. When those things are out of alignment, they're not. And I'll give you like a very obvious but clear example. There was a lady during our workshops who said this very thing. She said, I have put a founding member launch out there. I didn't get any response. She's like, but I know that the audience that I have is not in alignment with the offer that I'm making. And I'm like, well, if you know that, then that's where we start. Because it's like, if I go to an audience of dog owners and I say, I've got this great cat membership, it doesn't matter how many people I have in my dog audience, they're not going to want it because they own dogs. They don't own cats. So when there's a misalignment between the message and the audience, that's when we don't get the response that we want. But it's all curable and fixable, because once we align what we're offering with what the market wants, that's when the response begins to happen. And we show you and walk you through this process, because it is even seasoned business owners will have misalignment. I think of Michelle Lloyd, for example. She was in our community for a couple of years. And she had she serves artists. She's over in the UK, and she was doing okay. Like her launches, every time she did them, she'd welcome 30 to 40 members, but she felt like she was capable of much more. Like there was more potential there. And she was kind of getting frustrated with it a little bit, but I give her, credit. She didn't give up on this process. She just kept trying different things. And in business, this is exactly what it is. It's a bunch of experiments. Like I want to release everybody of the pressure that you've got to get everything right the first time. And if it doesn't line up that first time, then, your idea is that, no, that's not it at all. But so what Michelle did was she kept tweaking and she kept trying. And in her next launch, she tried a slightly different messaging, a slightly different angle, and it hit. And she went from 30 to 40 new members in a launch. This launch, she welcomed more than 400 new members. And I got a video from her. I could pull it up, but she was legit like crying in just pure joy and excitement, but also because in that moment, there was a switch that got flipped in her where she realized she could do this. She was capable of this. And when she was young, she had a school counselor who said some things to her that planted a seed that she was never going to amount to anything. And for a while, she began to believe that. And as this membership in her mind wasn't growing as fast as she thought, well, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this entrepreneurship isn't my thing. And she said the moment that launch really hit is the moment that she realized, no, she 100% is capable of this. And that's one of the things about entrepreneurship, is that sometimes we are going to have to, go back to the drawing board, and we're going to have to think about where are things misaligned, but you'll never know until you actually put something out there. So for those who had the courage to put something out there, first and foremost, I want to give you a high five, because you are way further along now, because you actually have data, you actually have responses, you actually have, intel that you didn't have before. And with that, we can now make adjustments so that we can dial things in accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was one of those people who waited and waited. I was on the fence in 2018, on the fence in 2019. I finally joined in 2020. And by that time, I already had a membership, and I ended up scrapping it and redoing the entire thing. And I wish I could go back and just tell myself to jump in from the beginning, because I'm still making adjustments based on that experience. So I wish I would have just jumped in the beginning and figured all of it out from the start.
Well, and let me ask you, like, when you started your membership, is it different today than it was when you started?
I literally scrapped it. I completely changed my offer. When I joined, at the time it was Tribe, but I realized that exactly what you said. my offer was misaligned and I was really having trouble with retention. My growth was fine, but I was having a lot of trouble keeping people. And I literally took the entire membership. I scrapped the offer. Now my offer is 100% different. And now my retention rate is over 85%. I think it's closer to like 95%.
That's
So
amazing. And it kind of speaks to what we're talking about. Like, we can guess and we can plan, till the cows come home. But the reality of it is that we will never really know until we actually start working with people or putting our offer out there, in terms of seeing the response and how people are receptive to the offer and how people are using what we're providing inside the membership. And once we have that, real world experience, that's when we can begin truly making the adjustments. But until then, it's just a guessing game. And so this is why, I'm a huge fan of getting going sooner rather than later, because you don't need a big, like I think of Jennifer Chamberlain. She started, in her words, these were her words. She said, I was a 51-year-old, never had any business experience and never had, she wasn't technical, wasn't comfortable with the tech, but she loved art and she loved sharing art with other women her age. And so she began, and she did not have a big audience by any means. And long story short, she had a couple hundred people. She did her founding member launch, and she welcomed 30 founding members in that first year. After that first year, she had grown it to 100 members. After year 2, she had grown it to 200 members. But then she really hit her stride and had everything lined up. And in that third year, she went from 200 members to more than 2,000 members. This was it's now a multi 7-figure year business. And she's one of the first people to scream from the rooftops, like in our community, like, you do not have to have this figured out. You do not have to have the big audience, because she didn't, and she didn't have it figured out. But we learn over time. And during that, we maximize the time that we have. And this is kind of what I'm saying. Like, you're getting paid. Here's a reframe. You're getting paid to learn what the market wants. You're getting paid to create the membership. You're not paying, you're getting paid to create the membership. Like, that's a different place to come from and to begin thinking about it. And imagine, the sooner you start, the more you get paid to figure it out and to dial it in. Like, that is a complete game changer. So if I were to ask you, like, would you rather wait a year and then pay to create your membership, or would you rather begin getting paid yourself right now for a full year to figure out what to provide and how to provide it? Like, it's a totally different way of looking at it and thinking about it. But that's exactly what happens when you get out of your own way and you start moving forward with the belief that, yes, I can do this. Yes, I will figure this out. And yes, I will be fully supported during this process, regardless of where I am in this journey. If I'm right at the beginning and I don't have an audience, there are resources. There's a whole module on that. And there's a specific bonus called Instant Audience. And it is the strategy that somebody who does not have an audience yet, that is the strategy that I'd recommend you go and watch. And in fact, yesterday on the live cast, Scott Coran, who started a membership with his best friend, Ryan, who's a dentist, they did not have an audience of dentists. But they didn't wait. They started creating and thinking about and mapping out the membership as they were building their audience. And the way in which they built their audience, by the way, is exactly what we teach in that bonus called Instant Audience. And they built that audience from scratch, then launched the membership. And 3 years later, sometimes I hesitate to share these numbers, but 3 years later, that's a multi-million-dollar a year membership. And I hesitate to share that because sometimes that feels like, oh my gosh, like, in 3 years, they've gone from no audience to a Yes, that is what's happened because they utilized exactly what we teach inside the program. So regardless of where you are in your journey, you're fully supported in growing your audience, launching your membership, growing your membership. And that's the whole purpose of this program, is to help you get that clarity to be able to begin moving forward.
Well, thank you so much. That was absolutely perfect. And I'm really excited to continue welcoming people into the program and to walk through it with them alongside you.
Yeah. And I think too, like, having you support them as well is just that other perspective of somebody who has legit gone through the process, and I think that that's a unique thing that you're providing, those of you, those who join you in this endeavor, because they're getting multiple perspectives on and support, for accomplishing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I can't wait for next week to start. And I can't wait for everybody whose lives are going to change.
Absolutely. And my encouragement to everybody is to know that, the moment that you register, you'll have immediate access to module 0, which is the foundational module. This is perfect, by the way, for helping you get very clear about who you serve, how you help, and what that membership type is going to look like. And then on Monday, May 2nd, is when we have our opening ceremonies. It's a whole lot of fun. And that's also when module number 1 gets released. And then we begin our rhythm of 2 modules on, 1 week off, 2 weeks on, 1 week off. And throughout this process, what I want you to know is that we have a 14-day money-back guarantee. So you'll have full access to to experience the content, to experience how we deliver and support you, and you'll have an opportunity to see how the content itself is going to be applied for you and your business. And if for whatever reason you're not happy, you just let us know, and there's a full refund that will be issued within that first 14 days. So there's nothing to lose, and you are fully supported in this process. And that's why I encourage people, even if you have the intention of just trying it and just seeing, I want to encourage you, because when you do, you're going to see just how much progress you can make in such a short period of time.
Yeah. And I had a couple people say that. They were like, oh, I'm just going to join to see, and I'm, not planning on staying. They all stayed, and they all are leaps and bounds further in their business a year later. And they had very minimal expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
So much for bringing up those implementation weeks too, because that is one more thing my audience keeps saying is, I have kids. I don't have time for this. I just took a course. And they loved the workshop, and you're so generous and so free with your time, but they were like, I don't have 4 hours a day, every single day for the next 8 weeks to dedicate to learning, but that's not what it takes, right?
No, like the program itself is, you can pick and choose how much time you want to allocate to it. Like some people who, they want to attend every single live, and we have like support and available every single day if you want it. And those people are obviously going to spend more time, but you don't have to show up to every single thing live. The way the content is structured is each module will have between 60 to 90 minutes worth of content broken down into bite-sized chunks, like 5 to 15-minute lessons. So, if the kids are napping, you can quickly go through a couple of the lessons, and you can do this at different intervals so that by the end of the week, you have, gone through the whole entire module. And to echo what you said, we teach two modules, and then we take a week off. There's a week off for implementation. This is a week when people get caught back up. This is a week when people are implementing what we have taught in the previous 2 weeks. And it's a week to get those, questions answered as you are implementing. So it's not like dump a whole bunch of info on you and kind of like on you go. No, it's designed and structured specifically and intentionally to help you be able to implement and support you in that process. So yeah, that's why we call it the membership experience, because it is so much more than just modules and lessons. It's an experience that's been designed to help you learn and do and get results.
Yeah. And if it was just a course, I wouldn't be signing up to go through it a third time. I'm super excited for the entire experience this year.
Absolutely. It's going to be a heck of a lot of fun too.
Yes, I'm so excited. And people don't realize that an online course can be fun, but this one is different.
It is different. And, I'm just excited too for this year because we completely revamped and reimagined all the things that we could do. There's all kinds of hidden gems all throughout the program. You'll, discover them and unlock them at appropriate moments. But the reason we do this is because we make learning fun, and it pulls you through the material. And one of the best compliments that we get is at the end of the program when people say, this is the first program I have actually gotten through. And we take great pride in that. And it's because of the way we've intentionally designed it to be able to make it, manageable and consuming, fun, and so that it pulls you through and you're implementing and getting results. That creates momentum. And when you got momentum on your side, anything is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. And everybody that signs up with me gets extra coaching with me after the experience wraps up so they can continue to be supported. So I'm really excited for that too.
Amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate you, buddy.
All right. Thank you.